Baseball. Man, did I love baseball when I was a kid. You know what? I'll tell you what. Probably a more appropriate word to describe my passion for baseball was I was obsessed with baseball. I talked about baseball. I dreamed about baseball. I just was obsessed with baseball. I knew all the teams. I knew all the logos for every team, and I could draw all of them. I'd sit around and I would that was what I doodled. The kids doodled cartoon characters. I doodled logos for the Major League Baseball teams. And my goal in life was someday to make it to the big leagues. Man, I played baseball all the time. And I was certain someday I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it to the big leagues. Well, my name is Tim Stone, and I'm sure if you've ever looked through your baseball cards, you've never found my name because I never made it to the big leagues. As I grew up, as I was growing up, and when I got into high school, I realized I really didn't have the skill set to be a Major League Baseball player. I was never even a star in Little League, just okay. And so my passion, or let's back up, my obsession for baseball never changed. I was still obsessed. But what does a guy do who's obsessed with baseball but really is not going to make a career out of it? I figured I'll just be a sports analyst. And so that's the direction my life took. So when I got out of school, I got into my education followed radio and television, and that's the direction I went. And I was going to be a sports commentator or a sports analyst, and figured, you know what, I'll just shoot for being on ESPN someday. But then God began to change some things in my life, and as He did, the direction of my life began to change. And I was in radio and television, and so what does a Christian do that's in radio and television? I guess gets involved in Christian radio. So I went that route for a few years and was in that industry and in that field. And then God began to shift some things again, and I began to see that God was wanting me to go a different direction with my life, and so I just began to follow what I believed God calling me to do. And so I began to get involved in ministry, and before long, that's just what I did. I began to do full-time ministry as a vocation, and I've done youth ministry, and children's ministry, and worship ministry, and I've cleaned toilets, and been a janitor, and mowed the lawn, and served as an elder, and done all those things in ministry over the years. And for the last 20 years, that's the course that my life has taken. In the last 3.5 years, I've really jumped out there and taken one of the biggest risks of my life, and that is being senior pastor. But not just being senior pastor. I have launched out and planted a church, pioneered a church, and that's where I'm at right now. Is senior pastor of a recent church plant about 3.5 years ago, and it is awesome. Now, okay. Being a Major League Baseball player, I think would have been great, and yeah, I could imagine that. I could still imagine that. Being a sports analyst for ESPN, that would be a sweet job as well. But I got to tell you, I don't think anything can compare to what I'm doing right now. Being in the center of God's will for my life, there's nothing else I'd rather do than be the senior pastor of Westlake Fellowship in Montgomery, Texas.